Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got a little treat. I'm mixing things up a little bit and I'm interviewing Ellis Miller. Now if you don't know Ellis Miller, Ellis is the founder of Pleasant Wealth. And if you're not familiar, maybe this will help. Apple tree. Yep, this is my dad and I've been working with him for about 10 years. And it's so fun to have him here on my channel with pleasant financial conversations just for you. So today what we're going to be talking about is the recession in this year, 2020, and how it differs from recessions of the past. So I'm going to be tapping into his knowledge to hear a little bit about the key features of this year's recession versus ones that either he has experienced with clients in the past or even just throughout history. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe for a regular pleasant financial conversation. All right, Ellis. It's fantastic to have you on here today. And as we mentioned, we're going to be talking a little bit about the recession in 2020 and how it's different from maybe recessions that you've encountered in the past with clients or even before then. I know for myself, this is the first recession that I've been a part as managing money as an advisor. And so I don't have the muscle memory from 2008, 2009 or before. So as you think of this year's recession, what's some of the key features that are different from this year versus recessions of the past?
Well, first off, Liz, thanks for having me on your channel. The biggest difference by far would be the speed with which this one happened. It dropped over a 5-week period, not a 2-year period. And then the recovery was kind of like a check mark. It dropped fast, started steep, and then swooshed out. And that's the recovery we've seen in this one. So the speed is different from times before.
I remember hearing you talking about 2008, 2009. It was right before I stepped into the industry. Yeah. And you referenced it as kind of a slow bleed, month over month of bad news that you had to walk clients through. So this one has been quick. Economy recovered fairly well, or at least the accounts recovered fairly well. And so there wasn't quite that doom and gloom of it's just keeping going. Is that right?
One big difference with the 2008 recession was that the economy, especially the banking and mortgage industry, were teetering on the edge of oblivion behind the scenes. The result was that it was a slow bleed. The markets dropped, then they went up, markets dropped, and went up. And it really was disheartening over a time period, and you lost optimism. And finally, when there was enough despair, it turned. So this one was much faster. It was brutal, but it was much faster.
Yeah, so clients didn't feel that same angst for a long period of time.
Yeah, it was just different. There was some fear. But...
So one term that we've used in the office that I'd like you to hash out a little bit for us here is the term self-induced coma. And that is to kind of talk a little bit about the difference between where the economy is at and where account balances are. So talk about that.
Yeah, it's almost as if because of the disease, they chose to take the economy down into a coma. And in that state, the economy was not producing the money it customarily did. So they printed money, distributed it in the system to keep things kind of alive, to keep the patient alive until the disease was resolved or treatable. And then they hope to bring the patient back to life. I happen to believe there's a fair chance they will do that.
So with that, another term that we've talked about in the office is the pandemic pivot, talking a little bit about how businesses are changing and how the idea of we need the patient or our economy to revive after the self-induced coma of cash that came into the economy. And so talk about how the pandemic pivot is good news or kind of shapes the revival of our economy.
For me, it's been a huge positive. The words pandemic pivot refer to the idea that the pandemic has accelerated some pre-existing trends, such as communications for working from home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We all know what those are. Those trends, those existing trends were accelerated. Business owners pivoted to the new reality very fast. The degree to which they did that has been very heartening. I remember a few months ago, about 35% of the businesses were positive about their long-term futures. That number is now about 65%. And that is because of the pandemic pivot.
So businesses have been able to use some of the money that has been received through the PPP loan or whatever it is, and this stall time in our economy to be able to reshape what they're doing and now feel like they can come out of it pretty successfully. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I think it's because of entrepreneurs' ability to see reality and adjust, to pivot on a point, just pivot and go there.
Sure.
I guess that's the American way.
Yeah.
It's a real gift. It might get us in trouble on some things, but it's a real gift.
Yeah, even in our small business here at Pleasant Wealth, we've seen a lot of change in the way that we're doing business by going virtual, using Zoom for meetings or online documents for signature and getting money moved, versus the old school way of in-person meetings, paper forms, faxing things in. We've just really been able to speed up business.
The old saying, it's amazing what you can do if you have to.
If you have to, yes.
Right. And it's better on this side. I'm thankful for the blessings I'm thankful for the benefits that we've seen from it.
Not that it's been easy. Yes. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Stay tuned. This guy's going to be on again another couple of episodes. Yeah, so if you want to stay, and then I'll do my last little spiel. Don't move around too much and don't laugh. All right, friends, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always, and accommodating my dad being on the channel. It's always fun to share a little bit more about what Pleasant Wealth is like as a firm and how we think about what's happening in the world right now. If you are feeling a little unsettled with what to do in this recession and what that means for your investment accounts, we'd love to have that conversation with you. Here at Pleasant Wealth, we always talk about those pleasant financial conversations that talk about where you're at, the hurdles that are in your way from getting you to where you need to be going, and how we can navigate those and really get you off to the races with your retirement or with whatever goals that you are hoping to achieve. So if that's something you're interested in, go to our website, www.pleasantwealth.com, to go ahead and request a meeting. We'd love to have that conversation with you. Until next time, friends, you take care.